Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Happy Friday. I hope you guys are enjoying the kickoff to the weekend. I'm live here on the channel on January 17th, 2025, and we are doing tarot readings this evening. If you guys can see me, give me a thumbs up, like the stream, consider sharing it on your socials. I'm excited to be back to be doing readings for you guys. We got a number of people in the queue. How's everybody in the chat doing? I know we got a number of people here. What's up, Sonia, Victoria, Maggie's here, David's here, and Diana, what's going on? You got on the list. So if you guys are watching this on Saturday or Sunday, I'm no longer live, so please, you don't need to send anything, otherwise you will be refunded. I'm here every Friday around 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, and we alternate every other week. So if you guys are looking for some astro, I'll be here next week. We're gonna be doing tarot readings this evening. And if this is your first time joining me, welcome. My name's Candace. I'm a Western astrologer, and I like to practice using tarot as well as astrology and the Sabian symbols to predict what's going on in the cosmos. We're going to be doing readings this evening by donation. So if you would like to get a reading, scan the QR code somewhere up there. And if you scan that, it's going to take you to my PayPal. We're doing 1 card spreads for $20 and 3 card spreads for $40. So you guys make sure you put any info pertaining to your reading in the memo box for me, please. And we're gonna do the readings in the order that we receive them. So I appreciate your patience. Obviously, I have memberships on the channel. So if you guys didn't know that, I'm a full-time content creator. And if you wanna support me, you can do so just by subscribing to the channel. Click subscribe and make sure you click the bell button so you know when I'm on. Otherwise, you can also become a member. There's 3 different levels, and level 3 is gonna get a reading with me once a month. We take those members first. You guys don't have to wait. You're kind of like VIP. And then after we go through the level 3 people who have had their readings, we move on to everybody else who has made their donations. You'll hear me calling out names throughout the readings this evening. It's just letting you know that your reading is coming up. So if you hear your name while I'm doing the readings, that means that you're on deck. We've got a number of people who are already here. So I haven't had any level 3 people yet, but I have Katie, Rita, Miriam, Adriana, Melissa, Sunny, Emiko. These are the people who I have who are already in the queue. Oh, okay, so we are going to hear from Victoria. All right. And let me add this. So if you guys have heard your name, that means that I've got you. And we'll take Victoria first. How's everybody's Friday going? How are you guys doing? Yes, I got you, Diana. All right, so Victoria says, ask the tarot about my love life. Something juicy. Explain what I can do or not this year. Is the Chinese snake year and I'm a pig. Uh-oh, I need advice. Where will my guy be? Time frame advice. Please and thank you. All right, well, I got you. I pulled out a different deck. I haven't used this deck in a really long time, so we'll see how chatty it is. But those of you guys who are into like some of like the older, more kind of like Victorian-esque cards, you might like these. Lots of naked ladies in these cards. All right, so let's see what we can tell Victoria about the future of what might be going on this year in regards to potential love life stuff. She needs advice and she wants to know, where will her guy be? Any time frame or advice that we can give her? All right, so in this order. All right, so can you see these okay? Just want to make sure they're in the right spot. So we got the 5 of coins, the 10 of swords, and the 7 of cups. All right, so my interpretation of this basically is kind of saying like you're not supposed to be looking, which kind of makes sense being a Virgo rising, if I remember correctly. So much about the North Node and the eclipses in Saturn that are all kind of making aspects in your 7th house is really going to be talking about being in a situation where whatever is meant to find you will find you, okay? So starting with the 5 of coins, obviously it can be kind of feeling like it's rough out there in the cold looking for someone or something or making a connection, or you're feeling like maybe sometimes a little lonely, but at the same time, the 5 of coins kind of talks about not being willing to settle, not putting yourself in a situation where you're feeling like you're out in the cold or you're repeating old patterns in terms of not getting what you need in relationships. So that's the right now card. We move on to the 10 of swords, which is kind of what's brewing in the near future. And the 10 of swords says it's an end of the old ways of doing relationships. Sometimes this is a card that comes up that talks about working through disappointment, but it's also about closing out old cycles. Now, it's interesting that we've got a 5 and we've also got a 10. So it can be kind of saying like watching out for like 5 to 10 weeks. That can be a real turning point. I know astrologically that's going to be a big turning point for your chart. And what's interesting is that I think about like the retrogrades and that it's about clearing up karma, right? We know that Mercury and Venus are in retrograde with Saturn, and they're going to come into conjunction with the North Node. So as a Virgo rising, that'll be in your 7th house where it's like wrapping up old cycles and it's preparing for something new. So I'm not surprised to see the 10 of Swords. I do kind of feel like this is also about not having your hopes set on a particular timeline or a particular person, because sometimes this can be a card that does talk about endings and disappointment, but it also does talk about the need to kind of prepare to kind of close up some of these old cycles and relationships where maybe you haven't felt like you were in control, or maybe there was like stress, or there was difficulty in communication, or not being able to think so clearly in regards to partnerships. And then the final card is the 7 of Cups, which isn't necessarily a bad card. This is finally kind of getting out of like the heavier elements of obviously earth and air. 7 of Cups can be talking about multiple options, multiple choices, but this has been a card for me in like relationship readings that represent a theme of like surprise, like not really knowing what you're going to get, and not necessarily in a bad way, but when you least expect something, something appears. What I like about the 7 of Cups in the traditional Rider-Waite is it talks about like all of the different options. It's kind of like being on a game show. You never know what's going to be behind, you know, closed door 1, 2, or 3, and you kind of have to pick. So it might be about navigating dating and kind of using your intuition, and also being willing to kind of feel your way into something without really knowing where it's going to go. The 7 of Cups does talk about kind of like a dreamy fantasy and visions and intuitions. You know, if you guys have seen the traditional deck, you see all of the smoke and the mirrors and the animals and all of the things that are kind of cloaked. So it can be talking about basically somebody coming in that's kind of sexy, mysterious, something that's different about them, and kind of feeling like, okay, you know, I don't know where this is going to go, but, you know, I'm going to do it anyway. As a confirmation card for the last card, I get the 2 of Coins, okay? Just to kind of confirm whether or not that was going to be like an iffy ending. And I feel like the 2 of Coins is saying you're going to have more than one option, or you're going to be weighing your options. You're going to go, well, I used to have this and now I want that. I feel like the Virgo rising is probably going to have one of the more colorful spring times with the eclipses that are coming in, the South Node in your sign, letting go of an old identity and embracing something new. And I've told all of you guys to watch for people who are somehow connected or associated with water. I mean, the 7 of Cups is coming up. You see a woman sitting at a stream. She's kind of looking into the reflection and she's trying to kind of see something, or maybe she's like divining or scrying. And with Saturn and Neptune being in your 7th house, it's very likely you'll end up meeting somebody who can have some kind of connection to water. A coastal city, maybe they go boating, maybe they like to go fishing, maybe they just like to spend a lot of time outdoors by the water. They might be into like surfing or anything kind of connected to the ocean. So that's something that you're going to want to watch for, especially as your chart ruler Mercury is kind of dancing with Venus in your 7th house. If you have any invitations or any connections to go and do anything near water, likely that's going to open up the door of opportunities for you to be able to meet this mysterious man. She says, Virgo rising, I don't settle. Strict Saturn and Scorpio, I will have faith. Yes, lover will leave this year. I had a dream, man will come and find me. Cool. Surprise is good. Gemini North Node is getting a visit from Jupiter, and I can have a choice between 2 men. I can watch for it. Yeah, especially with Jupiter in your 10th, like it can be opening the door to meeting people professionally, but it can also mean that you are thinking long and hard about who you want to have by your side, like who's going to make you feel most complete, who's going to support you in your career ambitions, who's going to kind of be there out there with you in the world. So you're going to have to kind of decide who is going to be the best kind of match for some of the stuff you're doing professionally. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Victoria. Thanks for being a member. Thanks, Juliana. If you sent your question with the in the memo box, then I'll have your question. Otherwise, when I call your name, you can send me your question. All right, so let's see who else do we have on the list. So we're going to kind of move through here. We've got Katie, Rita, and Miriam. You guys are all on deck. I do not have Rita's question. So Rita, if you want to send your question for me, that way I have it. All right, so Katie says, wondering what the heck is going on in career and home. These past 2 weeks have felt like a psychological tower moment in which I feel like I should move back to my birthplace to be closer to my family. What do the cards think about moving? I have an entire life and home established away from family, and it would be so much to move, and my career is preventing me from moving. Absolute chaos. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's see what's going on for you, Katie. Hopefully I can give you some insight. What's your big three? What's your sun, moon, and rising? I wonder if you have anything in like either Taurus or maybe Scorpio, because those are the ones that are seeing some of those changes on the home front. So what can we tell Katie about moving? Taurus, sun, Scorpio, rising. Astrology is not real, right? All right, so we've got the Three of Coins. You know, honestly, it's weird because, okay, and then we have the Wheel of Fortune as like the confirmation card. I just always flip the bottom of the deck over just to give you confirmation. I gotta be honest with you. Just thinking that you're a Scorpio rising, like, I think about the transits. I just did a video on the Sun-Pluto conjunction. It's gonna come out on Sunday, and I talk about how it's like facing your fears. Believe it or not, for a Scorpio rising, this is a very empowering moment, okay? This is a good thing. The Sun conjunct Pluto is basically saying your whole direction in regards to your responsibility with your home, your family, and your career, it's all about to change. I feel like the Three of Coins coming up for you in regards to asking about moving is saying it will work. This will work. You can make this work. And it's funny to me that the Sun is the 10th house lord of career, and it's meeting with Pluto in the 4th house, where the new beginning that is going to be coming for you on the home front is going to come with a change in regards to your career. Pluto always says one thing has to die before something else is reborn. You know that if you're a Scorpio rising. You're getting it both ways if you're a Taurus sun, because obviously it's opposing your 7th house. There can be some friction with other people revolving around moving, whether that's work people, family, partners, whatever. But Three of Coins is saying that you can work as a team with other people. Other people will help support you throughout this move. Also, financially, this might be a better move for you, whether that means you're moving somewhere where you're going to have some financial security, you're going to be saving some money, your money's going to go further. This is also about support and working as a team when it comes to being able to help you move. Like, you may have people say, okay, if you're coming back home, you're going to be here with us, you know, we're going to help you with the process of moving. We'll fly out there, we'll help you get everything organized, we'll help you make the change. I think a lot of Scorpio risings too, with Mars retrograde in their 10th house, they're reevaluating, okay, do I either need to make a job change or do I need to be possibly making a move? As Mars retrogrades into your 9th house, it's about thinking about your long-term goals, where you need to be living, where you're going to feel the most secure. As a Capricorn moon too, same stuff. You're going to see Saturn and Neptune going into Aries in this next couple of months. And so that's going to be about retrogrades and all those things in the 4th house from obviously, you know, your moon. Many Scorpio risings will change jobs. I will just say that. And a lot of the job change is being brought off by a shift in their perspective and their belief system. And also because you're going to see eclipses and you're going to see retrogrades in your 9th house. So to be honest with you, I feel like the Three of Coins is working in your favor. And if you're willing to submit to, okay, I know in my heart of hearts that the biggest change is going to come from me being at home or closer to my family, the universe will provide for you. Especially as we're getting into March and April, you're going to have eclipses and retrogrades, which means that if you keep the job that you're currently in, there can be some rearrangements and some changes revolving around your schedule, how you're working, where you're working. But it can also mean that if you say, you know what, I'm quitting my job, I'm moving back home, I'm going to be with my family, it's very possible come March and April, you're already starting another job like that. The universe is not going to wait. You're just going to literally like have to hit the ground running with Saturn and Neptune going into your 6th house. Ask for help. Three of Coins says we can work as a team. We can make it possible. Wheel of Fortune says it might be a really good change for you. Obviously, a lot of these changes for Scorpio risings are being brought on by big shifts with the family. So if you're feeling like you need to be closer to family or there's some family stuff going on, you're kind of jumping into it being like, all right, if this means I got to change my job, so be it. Good luck for you on that move, Katie. You can do it. I think it's a good transit for you to be doing that, to be honest with you. Is Rita here? Rita, are you here? Let me know if you can hear me. I have a reading for you for one card. I want to make sure that I'm reading this right and that it's not something else. Oh no, it's something else. Somebody who got a calendar. I can't read. Sorry, guys. All right, so it's not Rita. Rita's purchasing something. So let's move to the next name I have on the list. We've got Miriam, Adriana, and then Melissa. What's up, Tiana? I can add you. I will take you next, Tiana, right after I take Miriam. All right, Miriam says, question is, where am I on my spiritual journey? I'm a Leo sun born at 9/18. All right, so what can we tell Miriam about where she's at in her spiritual journey at this point? Tarot says, ooh, Two of Coins. Again, is this going to be the card of the night? All right, so we've got the Two of Coins, which is interesting because this isn't really about balancing two opposing forces. This is about, do I do this or do I do that? I find that this card comes up a lot right before we're about to like make a significant change. Like I see this card as almost like pulling like an arrow back before it's shot in a new direction. Sometimes it's about financial matters. Sometimes it's going to be about your values. Other times it can be about making some significant changes when it comes to your, your finances or even your health. This is really kind of you going like, okay, do I still resonate with these things? Is this still working for me? And if it's not, is there an alternative? So this is a card of opening up your mind and I think considering alternative options and really thinking about what is going to benefit you in the long run, what's going to be best for you physically and in a material sense. This can also indicate that there is something shifting, revolving around your experiences and you're looking for something that's more meaningful. So I'm wondering like what you got going on, just kind of going off of knowing that you're a Leo. There's a lot of that for Leos right now, right? You've had a Mars retrograde that's been in your sign and planets are now retrograde back into Cancer. And this is going to represent this subconscious something that you're working through and having to take a step back. And it could be about, hey, do I want to make a move? Do I want to go back to school? Do I want to make a change in a relationship? There's something going on there. And I feel like that Two of Coins is really reflecting that sense of you really taking this time to weigh all of your options before you come into the next couple of weeks and you decide that you're going to strike while the iron is hot. And the Hierophant is like the confirmation card is saying you're learning patience. You're learning that you also need guidance. The Hierophant can be that you're working with a professional, you're working with a therapist, you're working with a guru, you're working with a teacher. It can be somebody who's kind of teaching you to take your time and really think things through and really reflect, okay? So sometimes like when I see the transits for Leos right now, it can mean you're making the decision to actually like work with like a teacher, like a meditation coach, a life coach, it can be a financial coach, anything like that, even a healer, because Mars is retrograde behind your sun. And I think that you're kind of learning to kind of go, you know what, it's worth the investment of working with somebody who can help me. And this can be with your finances, your spirituality, it can be with your health, and you're really kind of realizing what's worth investing time and energy on to make better or more so sound decisions, and also feeling like you're more capable when it comes to some of the things that are coming in the future. So I just know for Leos, Mars rules your home, so you can be back and forth about that situation or about a family matter, and healing some of those things or making decisions about moving or movement. And I would really trust my intuition. I kind of feel like if you've got retrogrades, 12th house to your sun, sometimes the answers will come to you subconsciously when you're dreaming or when you're in a meditative state. So if you feel like your mind is racing and you can't make a decision, I want you to kind of go to some type of practice where you can have reflection and you can literally kind of just breathe into it and be like, okay, what is the decision I'm supposed to be making? Because what you're learning is to take your time and not just impulsively like make decisions and then feel like chaotic things kind of come from that, Anyway, I hope that that's helpful for you. Appreciate your support. What's up, Robbie? Hey, Tiana. All right, so we got Diana, and after Diana, we will have Adriana and Melissa. If you guys are tuning in, you want to get a reading, scan the QR code up there. It'll take you to the PayPal and you can make your donation for 1 or 3 cards. Make sure you put your question in the memo box for me. Deanna says, general reading, extended my trip until February 3rd. Serious talk with the man, loving life, loving the life here. I'm going to assume it says life, not lie. Leo rising, Capricorn sun, Libra moon. You know, I think about being a Leo rising right now and getting ready to see the sun come into conjunction with Pluto is a really big transit, because it's going to be shining a light on these significant changes that are going to be happening across the board when it comes to relationships. Okay, so a conjunction is like a fusion of two things. It could be, you know, you and another person, but I think it's about how the relationship is going to be evolving and transforming, especially on the topics of, okay, where are we living? What kind of a life are we building? What are we creating together, right? So let's see what the cards have to say. I love that Mars in retrograde into your 12th house and you extended your trip. I would do the same thing. All right, so this is what I've got. I've got the King of Cups, I've got the Tower, and then I've got the Nine of Swords. All right, so with these cards kind of coming up, you know, the feeling that I'm getting is that there is like peaks and valleys going on with like being there, and not necessarily like there's something bad going on between you and him. It's just there may be a couple moments where it's like you guys have a heart-to-heart conversation, things get intense, and then you kind of have a breakthrough, and then you see like a softening effect, right? Does that make sense? Especially when I think about like the progress of the Nine of Swords, which is just like, man, I'm so tired. I don't know how much longer I can do this. You know, the back and forth, or, you know, trying to figure out what's going on with my job. And, you know, both parties can be feeling like independently they're struggling, trying to kind of juggle everything. And you're both probably venting to each other, being like, well, I've got this going on. He's like, I've got that going on. And you're like, yeah, well, it's hard. And I feel like I'm dealing with this by myself. You know, and it's meant to be a little uncomfortable. Nine of Swords is basically about like calling out some of the stuff that you have been holding back, and, you know, you're doing it because it's about getting it all out in the open, so that way you can kind of clear the air. Not that there's been problems, but any doubts or any concerns that you might have, right? Look at the card. You see like the soldier, he's standing there and he's looking around and he's kind of surveying the area, and he's like, man, it's just me. So if there have been things that both of you guys have been afraid to say or talk about, or you've been struggling, now you're able to kind of confide in each other. Then you have the Tower card, the one torn asunder. So this is the Tower. It's basically saying there's been a Tower moment. There's been some breakdowns, some breakthroughs, but we know that when the Tower moment happens, it's like this turning point that's like, okay, what's been said, it's been said. Here's where we're at. Here's the situation. Are we going to rebuild or build something new, or are we just going to completely abandon ship and like move on from this? And in this case, I kind of feel like, there's the Tower. In this case, I kind of feel like the Tower card is saying that there was like an oh shit moment that was like, we're either doing this or we're not, right? And I think it's kind of funny that there could have been something uncomfortable, but you guys are still in the same space, and then you let him have space to kind of integrate and think about it. And then we've got the King of Cups. So the King of Cups is kind of saying that he will show up in a very mature manner. He will process what's happened. He's heard everything you've had to say. He's heard your struggles. You've been real with him about stuff. And he's going to show up, and instead of being combative or resisting change, there's a softening, there is an opening, there is an emotional generosity, there is a deeper connection, a deeper commitment. And I think it's especially revolving around the relationship. I mean, the King of Cups is the master of romance and dedication and devotion and partnership. I really feel like maybe he got a little bit of an ego check that was just like, hey, dude, you know, like, this is what I'm doing this for you. Like, what are you doing for me? And that needed to kind of come up. And I think maybe there are some things that he needed to hear, and some things that he's kind of realized that you've been putting into the relationship and sacrifices you've been making. And it finally came out and he didn't know. Okay. So now I feel like he's going to be responding in a very positive way. This next week is critical. We are going to see that conjunction with, obviously with Pluto. Then Mercury is going to hit the conjunction to Pluto, and then we're going to have a beautiful new moon in Aquarius where it's like, okay, we've said everything we need to say. Let's get going. Let's start new. Try looking at what growth is going to come from that new moon period after you guys have kind of shaken everything out. But I really feel like it's going to bring you guys closer, and I feel like he has a better understanding of what it is that you need to feel secure in the commitment and in the relationship moving forward. Thanks, Rosie. I'll put you on my list. Hopefully that was helpful for you, Tiana. Keep me updated. Let me know what happens. All right, so we've got we have got Melissa, and then we've got Sunny, and then we've got Emiko. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. Okay. Oh, I take that back. We have Adriana, Melissa, and then Sunny. All right. Adriana says, what do I need to know right now? I'm going to make sure I'm not. Okay. Because there's some similar questions here. What do I need to know right now? Libra rising, Virgo sun, Sag moon. Wow. To be a Libra rising with a Virgo sun. You have the South Node through the first house, and you got the South Node going through your sun. Are any other Libra risings like feeling like super, like have you guys noticed the shift since the South Node went into your 12th house? You guys just feel like isolating yourself? You guys tired? You spending a lot of time in bed? Are you binge watching TV like me? Same. All right, so here we go. This is for Adriana. Not bad cards, actually. So what do you need to know right now? Well, the cool thing is like you're being pretty much called out by one of your three, big three signs. We've got the Queen of Swords that's coming up, followed by the Two of Wands and the Six of Cups. I like this energy for you. I feel like the Queen of Swords is really talking about focusing on connecting to your voice and feeling like you can be heard. Okay. And whether that's stemming from writing, doing some kind of intuitive development, if this is going to be about learning, if this is about, telling people what's on your mind and what you think, maybe this is about you stepping into a period where you're also receiving support from somebody else. So it can be a strong woman who can be like an air sign. So look for like a Libra, Aquarius, or maybe even a Gemini that's kind of popping in to help you. What I like about the Queen of Swords is she's very intelligent. She knows exactly what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and she's also aware that words can either empower people or they can do damage. So there's this shift that's kind of happening right now, revolving around your thought process and how you express yourself, and it can be a big turning point in regards to finding your voice. In the current position, the Two of Wands is saying that you're kind of waiting to embark on a journey. You could be thinking about, okay, this is something I started studying, or this is something I became interested in, or this is something that I want to do in the future. How do I make this possible? How do I do this? So it's about strategizing and planning. When you look at the traditional Rider-Waite card, you see a guy kind of looking at past the Two of Wands, and he's holding his globe, and he realizes that he can kind of go anywhere that his heart desires. So this card does talk about having an open mind, thinking about really the journey overall, what you're hoping to achieve. And then the Three of Wands would be taking that first step. So you're evaluating whether or not you're going to teach something, write a story, put together a book, maybe go back to school. And you're like, okay, do I want to do this? If I want to do it, how do I want to do it? Or if you want to go on a trip, you're trying to plan one. And obviously the Six of Cups in the future position is about reminiscing, romance, reconnection, things revolving around like soulmates. I'm wondering with the Queen of Swords and the Two of Wands, like, have you gotten any messages that there is about to be a significant shift in your relationships? You should, especially if you have that combination of planets. If you have, let me go back to this. If you have a Libra rising, you've got some major transits getting ready to gear up in your 7th house of relationships where there's retrogrades and there can be reconnection, Six of Cups. As a Virgo sun, you're going to start having eclipses that are going to impact your sun and also that are going to be 7th house to your sun. So likely you're going to see a big change on the horizon in regards to relationships. This can be about reminiscing and thinking about the past, but I think in a good way, not kind of getting stuck there. Maybe it's about romanticizing a future trip, some career changes, things revolving around your relationships just in general. Okay, sorry, there we go. I recently met a Scorpio online, but I haven't because of health issues. So, my thought is on this is that the Queen of Swords maybe is about kind of communicating and letting people know like what you are or not available for, and like, speaking up and telling them, that you have an interest, and maybe there's like a little sense of getting to know them more in an intellectual way, and romanticizing and kind of daydreaming and fantasizing about that connection. And it can be really strong with the Six of Cups coming up. It can feel like it's somebody who's very familiar, but you are going into a period of time where I think things are going to be a little bit sweeter and a little bit more romantic. But obviously, if you've got North Node in the 6th and in the 12th house, there can be some health stuff that can going on that can kind of sideline you. But so much of your astrology is about kind of getting that back on track in March. So you're not going to have to wait too long to kind of see that you have more time for relationship opportunities. Use your voice, speak out, because you're literally able to start telling the universe what you want. Especially if you have the South Node that's going through your 12th house, you can really tap into like manifestation. And it's kind of like the Magician card, where whatever you're asking for kind of comes your way. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Adriana. Hope you feel better. We've got Melissa, and then we've got Sunny. Let's see what Melissa says. What's up, Melissa? I need to know if a specific person will come back. We didn't have any closure, and it was a terrible and unexpected separation. Is this the same Melissa, February 10th, 93? Yeah. I've been like in a shock zombie mode, really worn down since around November, and I've been doing so much better since then, but I need to know if there will be any type of communication. All right, let's take a look. Let's see. So what can we tell Melissa about these transits? She wants to know what she can expect in regards to personal relationships. She's been a little shook up since the separation, and she wants to know, is there going to be a connection or any type of communication? Let's see what the cards say. All right, we got 2 of Cups, 5 of Swords, Page of Swords. A little bit of a difficult start, obviously, with some of these cards. You know, whenever we're looking at the 2 of Cups in a relationship reading, it does talk about partnership and connection and coming together. That is the final card, right? So that's one of like my, yes, there is an opportunity for connection and being able to smooth things over. We'll just start from the end and we'll work our way back. Page of Swords and the 5 of Swords makes me feel like right now you can be literally driving yourself crazy. Page of Swords can be a difficult card because it does talk about wanting to communicate, not knowing how, wanting to get the point across, you know, having things to say, but it can also mean that there's been communication that has happened recently in the past that somebody got their feelings hurt, or somebody said things that they, you know, should not have said, or somebody was very immature or very childish with their communication. There could have been, you know, hurtful words and things that kind of came out that makes me feel like either they didn't know how to fully express themselves properly, or people were saying things because they were lashing out and they didn't really mean it. And like there's a lot of growth that needs to be done in regards to communication between the 2 of you. This can also be talking about, you know, an air sign. So it can be talking about a Libra or a Gemini, or it can be talking about an Aquarius just in general. It's playing catch up. I know for a fact the person is super down due to someone telling me we can't communicate. What should I do? Should I move on? I'm devastated. Like my soulmate and best friends. And I feel like, yeah, I mean, you know, Page of Swords makes me feel like this can be almost like a game of chicken, right? Because you've got like a little kid that wants to communicate, but they don't know how to communicate. And then you have the 5 of Swords, which basically talks about being in a stressful situation where you feel like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. 5s represent the steepest part, basically, of the hill that you're kind of walking up when it comes to mental strife and communication. The 5 also talks about right when the energy is about to change. So like right when things become the most difficult, or right when you're kind of feeling like, that's it, I'm going to give up, that's when you're going to see that there's going to be a breakthrough. I always tell my clients when I see 5 of Swords or 5 of Wands that it's about when that opportunity comes to reconnect, it's about not attacking each other and wanting to immediately hash out what happened, or not wanting to play the blame game, or not creating a combative situation. Like it's wanting to kind of clear that up. And I don't think that there's any ill will or anything like that on their part. I mean, I really feel like this person is struggling with trying to figure out how to communicate with you, because it seems like the way that things ended were so badly that there's almost this feeling of, okay, the situation has been damaged. I don't really know how to connect. I wouldn't know how to communicate, like anything like that. And that's what they're sitting in right now. And it's a lot of like mental strife. Like all of the Swords represents feeling kind of like emotionally in turmoil and not knowing how to express themselves and feeling stuck. The 2 of Cups, which is about an offering, a reconnection. This is about a relationship. This is about love. This is about an invitation. You know, part of me kind of feels like if somebody were to extend an offer, whether it was him reaching out to you or you reaching out to him, the other party would accept, and they would basically be like, yes, I do want to talk to you. right? But remember, this is about focusing more on the right now, not focusing on the past. Because if you go back to the past and you guys play the blame game, or you try to rehash things, or you try to kind of get into it, there is going to be more strife and there's going to be more conflict. You guys are going to find yourself in the same kind of like conflict tornado that you were in before. But if you proceed forward and you're like, you know, hey, I'm reaching out to you. I hope you're okay. I've been thinking about you a lot. You know, I miss you. And leave it at that. Likely you will find that they're going to look at that as, okay, the door has opened. They are receptive. They don't hate me. They're willing to talk to me. And like that could be almost like the olive branch that you would extend that would reopen, you know, a relationship possibility, and that there is still a lot of love there. There is still a lot of connection there. And I do feel like to some extent, the Two of Cups still feels devoted to the relationship and the partnership, and it's not really like spinning out and going and doing other things. So it may be worth reaching out to that person and just letting them know how you feel without trying to kind of like, you know, drudge up the past and talking about what went on. Talk about how you feel right now and the fact that you wish that you could connect with them and that you hope that they're okay. Okay? Hope that's helpful for you. Sending good vibes for you, Melissa. There's definitely a lot of that going on right now. Venus conjunct Saturn. A lot of people who are just ghosting, or a lot of people who don't know how to connect, or definitely in our feelings when it comes to relationships and feeling like there are some invisible boundaries between us and other people. All right, so we have got Sunny, and then we have Emiko, and then we have Diana. Let's see what Sunny says. There we go. Sunny says, I'm currently in a difficult situation. I'm tempted to ask my father's former wife for financial assistance. We have not been in touch since they divorced, and I feel very challenged about it because of my dad not wanting to hurt his feelings. But she did say that if I ever found myself in need, to always reach out and ask. As a Leo rising, my North Node in Pisces, which is in the 8th house. So I'm wondering, is this aligned? I'm nearly crippled by the guilt of needing to do it. I'm contemplating other ways, like taking a personal loan from the bank. I'd love a 3-card reading with your honest assessment of the situation. If you can give me as few details as possible when you're reading the prompt out loud. Sorry. Sorry, that was at the end of the reading, at the end of the message. All right, so let's take a look. What can I tell you about this? I will just tell you, as a Leo rising, knowing that the North Node's in your 8th house, you're going to have an eclipse that's going to be aspecting your 2nd and your 8th house. You're going to have Venus retrograde in your 8th house, and it's going to go all over the North Node and Saturn. It makes me feel like anything that you were to do in terms of receiving support from someone else would be in secret, right? Because in the 8th house, the sun can't shine. You can't see what's going on there, and Pisces is secret. So you'd be very unlikely to be talking about it with family or talking about it with your dad. And you know, you're gonna wanna watch like probably like the mid-February through April period when those retrogrades and eclipses are happening, that there could be support that could come in from a woman, especially when I think about the conjunctions that are gonna be happening with Venus. So there's gonna be several conjunctions with Venus that are gonna be kind of happening, right? All right, so let's take a look. Let's see what I can tell Sunny. Let me pull this back up. All right, 1, 2, 3. In this order, 6 of Wands, 4 of Swords, and the Empress. Okay. And the Wheel of Fortune is the confirmation card. So, you know, to be honest with you, this is somebody who, even though your dad may not be with this person anymore, either you still see her as a mother figure or she still sees you as like one of her children, right? Because the Empress coming up is basically saying this is a situation where she loves you, there's a connection, she's obviously capable of being able to help you in any way that she can. She would be more than willing to. The Empress is all about life, abundance, generosity, and she embodies the element of Venus. So if you need resources, you need food, you need clothing, you need love, like whatever you need, she's always there to give you. So that's a good indication that she would be like, what do you need? How can I help? And in the past position, it's also saying that you guys have always been cool. Like there's not really been any issues or any problems here. And likely, you know, she's always been very generous, and I feel like this would be something that would be returned to you as well. Then we've got the Four of Swords coming up in the current position, which pretty much nails what you were saying. You were like, I don't know what to do. I'm stressed out. I want to ask. I feel bad about it. I've been sitting on it. I've been thinking about it. And I've had a hard time bringing myself to actually ask her for assistance and ask her for help. It is a card sometimes that's about, sleeping on it and thinking about it before you make a move. But it also can be saying that you personally are getting to a point where either the stress or the anxiety revolving around the situation is like becoming too much to bear, that you're reaching a point where it's going to have a negative effect on your health. I don't like saying that, but I think that that's really what this is. This is a card that comes up sometimes when people like become depressed, or they feel like they can't get out of bed, or they're feeling like they're just so stressed that they just feel like their head is spinning. So what you want to do when you have this card is you just want to take a step back, and you literally just need to rest and recuperate. Okay. Even if it's just taking a day off, a day to sleep, to stay down, to just do some relaxation exercises. Four of Swords definitely talks about also a situation that we put ourselves in that we don't have to. So it can be saying like, you don't have to put yourself through this agonizing time period where you're thinking about it for days or weeks on end before you ultimately ask her. Just ask her. Because the Six of Wands comes up, and the Six of Wands is a card of victory. So it basically means, yes, you will be victorious if you're looking for some kind of support in regards to, asking your ex-stepmom for some kind of support. It does mean that you'll be welcomed with open arms. Sometimes this is a card that's about homecoming. So it's like, what do you need? Do you need to come stay with me? Do you need some food? Do you need some assistance? Do you want me to come visit? I'm always here for you if you need something. Like, it's the card of being welcomed with open arms, right? So she's like, yes, how can I help you? What do you need? Like, you're not just going to get kind of shoved away. And then the confirmation card, being the Wheel of Fortune, is also saying like fortune is in your favor. Sometimes the wheel spins and you end up giving somebody some support. Sometimes it spins the other way and you receive support. I'm going to be honest with you. North Node in your 8th house means you're going to be receiving support from other people. Now, could that be unexpectedly from the universe? Sure. Could it be also that, you reach out to somebody and ask for help and they're ridiculously generous with you, or you apply for a loan and you get a loan? Sure. But I think that in the case of asking her first before you try some of those other outlets, I do think that you're going to be successful, and she's going to be more than willing to help you, especially because she considers you to be family. Okay. I hope that's helpful for you. Sending you lots of love and good vibes as you go through some of these challenges right now. Looks like you've got somebody who's definitely on your side. I've got Amico, Diana, and Rosie. Okay. And I'll give you guys a heads up of who else is on the list in just a minute. But if you guys still want to get a reading, scan the QR code, get in the queue. This is for Amico, Pisces rising, Sun in Aries, and a Taurus moon. Miko says, got a reading from you last ago about starting my own art and business, design business company. Long story short, I dropped the ball completely after being heartbroken and losing my part-time gig on the boats. I was struggling a lot east of last year, the end of last year, but now I'm ready to prioritize my business from square one. I just feel stuck on what direction to go creatively and what to offer. Any advice? All right, I got you. I would have to say, as a Pisces rising, knowing that you're coming up on an eclipse in your 2nd house of income in March, and that you're going to have some retrogrades there, it's about kind of getting back in the saddle when it comes to like making money and like really focusing on like your self-esteem and feeling confident in what it is that you're creating and what you have to sell. So I feel like you're right on time. I think there's been a lot of clearing things out with like relationship stuff or emotions and things kind of connected to other people. So let's see what the cards have to say for you in terms of what you need to know to get unstuck, be more creative. All right, so we have got the 6 of Swords, we have got the 6 of Cups, and we have got the 10 of Coins. All right, so 6 of Swords in the past position is really kind of talking about being in a situation where, you're moving on to smoother water. Okay, so this could mean you are moving on from where you've had some turbulence, where you have had some grief, some disappointment with work and, things that have just been really difficult to move on from. What's good about the Six of Swords is that it does mean that you are going to a place where things are going to feel more stable, more calm, and you're going to have a lot more stability in your life where you're going to feel like you're going to be able to create. And this is also about having support in the process. So whether that's you've had friends to support you, you've had family there for you, maybe you've had, a new job that's come in or something that has shifted, and now you feel like, okay, I'm a little bit more stable, I've got my head above water, and I'm not feeling like I'm drowning. And things will kind of calm down from where they've been. Six of Cups in the current position. So this is interesting. So when you're asking about how do I prioritize my business, the Six of Cups really talks about being playful. Maybe this is a card that talks about reminiscing and thinking about, well, what have I done in the past that worked? What type of art did I create that I love to create that worked? What old projects can I go back to that I have not completed or that I kind of just dropped the ball on and I really wasn't as focused on, and now there can be this reconnection to some of those projects and falling in love with them again and feeling inspired by some of the art that you had done at an earlier time. This is also about connection and collaboration with other people. So it might mean that you start doing work where maybe you're getting commissioned for some of your art, or you're putting out things that could be more personalized, or you're doing things maybe that are going to be potentially for partnerships or for relationships, or things that you're painting, designing, creating that's specifically connected to love. I mean, this is like a lovey-dovey card. I'm almost wondering if this is something where, you're going to be shifting gears and you're like, okay, I only want to create a type of art or a type of work that I'm really truly in love with. And you're only going to do that. And you're only going to focus on that. She says, it's been a little hard right now to find time to prioritize my business because I have bills to catch up on, but I want to know what's a good way to balance while catching up on bills. I mean, I feel like the Six of Cups is saying that, even though you're focusing on some of your financial stuff right now and kind of getting that stabilized, the Six of Cups is about having that comfort zone and getting back into the state of creating. And, the Six of Cups can also be, this is watery, right? So it can be that you're doing things where you're creating personal watermarks. Maybe you're doing things that are going to be a bunch of almost I'm trying to think of what they're called. When they create a page and they'll send digital artists will sell a whole page of images. I don't know what that's called. You'll have to let me know. Something like that, where you're okay, here's a whole page of this design, a whole page of that design, and you're selling it, but it might have something licensing. Yeah, but I want to say clip art, but it's not clip art. It's you're going to sell packages of different styles and designs of art. Things that are people would use on digital designs that they would buy that they can kind of put in things. I sound like I'm babbling, but I'm trying to think of what it's called. It's a collection basically, right? So if you were to see a whole collection of different images of clothing or flowers or whatever, you would have a whole album that you could sell with all of that art. This is about doing something that's going to feel like it's reminding you of packages. Yeah, something like that. Because the Six of Cups is all right, what did I do in the past that worked that people really liked, but I enjoyed doing, right? And specifically, this is water. So I'm wondering, is it logos? Is it watermarks? Are you going to be working with places locally where you're going to be doing stuff that's going to be kind of influenced by where you're living? Scenes and things like that, stuff that's kind of connecting to that culture. Six of Cups can also be about younger people. So it can be things that are going to be for younger people who are going to want designs for holidays, for birthdays, for cards, for calendars, things that are going to be maybe even utilized by people who want designs for wallpaper for children, or they want designs for print that they can use, for coloring books or things like that. And then the final card that you get is the Ten of Coins. So anybody who's struggling to pay bills or struggling to kind of figure out how to get their business up and running, Ten of Coins is the card that you want, because it's saying in the end, things really end up playing in your direction. You end up seeing a lot of abundance, a lot of growth, a lot of stability. The Ten of Coins is the maximum, obviously, of the coins from the Ace to the 10. So it talks about something that started as a seed and then it evolves into a full-fledged business. Ten of Coins is also talking about becoming more official, right? Sometimes I see this card come up when somebody's well, I've kind of had this side business, but it's been a thing, and I don't know if I should turn it into a full-time gig or incorporate or quit my day job and do this. And usually it indicates that that's what you're going to ultimately end up doing. Now, obviously, Ten of Coins could be over a 10-month period. It could be over a 10-year period. but it wants you to kind of think about cycles that are connected to 10. So usually when this pops up, I tell my clients, look, every 10 weeks, you need to reassess where you're at. You need to be asking yourself, am I making progress? If I'm not, what can I do differently? But the potential is there for having something that could be a fully functional, full-time business, something that could really support you and also be some of like your long-term kind of professional goals that are finally kind of coming full circle. Yay, so launching in the spring is a good idea. It depends on the astrology. I would say I personally will, I mean, I have to do some stuff. I'm not crazy about some of the launch dates, but it is what it is. I'm not crazy about major launches until the second half of April. Because of eclipses and retrogrades and a bunch of other things. But you can go back and you can rework something, you know, make changes to maybe your business, make changes to how you are promoting yourself, maybe some upgrades to some of the aesthetics. And then anytime after like the 17th of April on is good. One of the better launch periods, to be honest with you, is either going to be this up and coming new moon that's going to be in Aquarius. And then the next new moon that I like is going to be the one that's going to be in June in Cancer. You know, two different new moons, but both very, very, very good for new ventures or kind of expanding things outward. Scrapbooking packs, that'd be a good idea. Yeah, for sure. Not here for a reading this time. Oh, well, thank you. It's the tarot of, is it Delphi? Delphi? It's an old deck. It's from 2014. You're welcome. I'm excited to see what new stuff you put out there. I've had this deck for a while. I used to use this deck all the time, and I don't know why I haven't used it. All right, so we've got Diana and then Rosie. I also have Juliana, Jessica, Tiana, Sasha, and Natalie. Am I missing anybody? Make sure I'm not missing anybody. And Tanya. All right. All right, so let's take Diana. And she says, personal 2025 reading, what is coming ahead? Let's take a look. All right, so we've got the Devil, the Nine of Swords, the Ace of Cups. That's a fun combination. What's your rising sign? You know, for me, I kind of see this as like a turning point where you're like, I'm really overcoming some past issues and demons and difficult situations in regards to relationships, right? It's a pretty sexy devil card, right? With the siren. I mean, at least in this deck, it does show a more kind of sensual side, I guess. But I really see this card as like, where have I gotten stuck in the past? Where have I gotten stuck in situations that I got involved in that I knew was not going to be a good idea? And this could be friendships, this could be romantic relationships, this could also be like some of your own personal habits and things where you are maybe leaning into things a little bit too much because it feels good, right? Those habits and things that we know that aren't good for us. The Devil card talks about getting kind of wrapped and entangled in something. And this could also be talking about where Saturn is transiting in your chart right now. So take a look at where Pisces is. It can be kind of paying homage to that Saturn transit and where you're feeling like you're getting stuck or you're losing yourself in something. And then obviously the Nine of Swords being in the center position is like, been there, done that. Don't want to go back to the past. Don't want to repeat the same patterns. I don't want to have to pick myself up again and dust myself off. I no longer want to feel like I am like just struggling to kind of get by when it comes to relationships with other people and maybe feeling like you're left holding the bag emotionally or that you're not getting what you need in return. Now, the Nine of Swords also talks about kind of surveying everything after there's been some challenges or difficulties. Certainly, the Devil card can be talking about where there's been some relationships in your life that have potentially been a negative impact on you in your relationship with yourself, relationship with other people, where that's kind of holding you back, or maybe where it's creating the illusion of having support or having someone who's kind of there for you or someone who even you're in a relationship with, but you know that you're like, okay, this is not good for me. Or it could mean that you're finally making this realization that you're like, okay, I'm seeking for love in all the wrong places, or I'm looking for friends in all the wrong places. And like, it's easier to be alone rather than feeling alone, right? Okay, Pisces, Sun, Virgo rising. Oh, so you're getting it both ways. The good news is that from the Virgo rising perspective, this is going to be a life-changing transit for you guys. You guys have to understand, Saturn goes through Pisces every like 28 to 30 years, right? The North Node goes through Pisces every 18 years. We're seeing both of these cycles correspond at the same time. So for a Virgo rising, the universe is like relationships, relationships, relationships. And Pisces is about conclusions or completions. So it's about wrapping up some old storylines in regards to how relationships have gone, where there's been difficulties, you know, delays and limitations. And it's flushing all of that out so it can bring you something new. So it's both the relationship with yourself, because I think that's what this is talking about, right? Because Saturn's connected to your 5th house. But I also think about Saturn and Neptune going in Aries next year. And for a lot of Pisces, they're going to be reevaluating like, okay, like what is my worth? What matters to me? And Virgo risings too. It's going to be like, how can I change? The good news is even though these are two of the more difficult cards, the final card you get is the Ace of Cups. So it is saying a new relationship is on the horizon. When you go through all the rubble and all the crap and you clear all that stuff out and you're healing it, I can't tell you enough. When you have the North Node or Saturn going through your 7th house, you need an astrologer, you need a therapist, or you need, you know, someone that you can kind of talk to and kind of like have as a sounding board, especially in Pisces, because it's somebody who can give you like a more kind of like spiritual perspective, rather than that super analytical, you know, kind of like a Virgo ascendant that you got going on. So sometimes you'll talk to people who are like mystics and people who are like, you know, readers and stuff like that. And they'll give you insight and they can kind of help you believe in what's coming in your relationships. There's still a period the next couple of months where you're having to kind of see through who you can and cannot trust. But Ace of Cups means that there's a new relationship or some new renewal of a relationship that is on the horizon for you, especially right around summertime, right when we go spring into summer is when you're going to start to see this like transition, and it's going to be bringing more love into your life, okay? Releasing the old patterns, especially if you know that it's no good for you. Good luck. Definitely Saturn in your 7th, girl. Passing the baton to us Libra risings pretty soon. All right, so we got Rosie. And after Rosie, we have Juliana and Jessica. All right, Rosie, what's going on? Rosie says, peace and light. What does the universe want me to know about Uranus going direct soon in my 5th and then moving into my 6th? All right, well, let's take a look. I'm going to assume you're Cap rising. Uranus in the 5th house. That was a fun transit. I remember that transit. All right, so let's take a look. What do we need to tell Rosie about this transit of Uranus in the 5th house? It's going to go direct soon and then go into her 6th. What does she need to know? What does she need to know? 7 of Cups. Okay, we've got the Moon card and we have got the 10 of Swords. Well, that seems pretty appropriate, right? A 10 had to pop in there somewhere because it's an end of a cycle, so it makes sense to me. But the 10 of Swords can be a bit of like a difficult card, to be honest with you, especially in like the past position. It kind of talks about disappointment, things not working out, feeling like stuff fell apart or that you failed or that there was something that kind of happened where you're like, oh, I have to take the knife out of my back. I've heard it from a lot of Capricorn risings, just with the Uranus transit in the 5th house, that's like, okay, there's been a lot of up and downs with your romantic life, up and downs where there's like childhood trauma stuff that's coming out of nowhere. There has been challenges that have been happening with younger people or with children, right? And I think about how that impacts you when it comes to your sense of security, because Uranus is tied to your 2nd house. So in the past, there's been a lot of like picking up the pieces and there hasn't been some consistency in this area. Maybe it's been a little disappointing. Now that Uranus is going to be changing signs and it's going to be going into your 6th house, the Moon card is coming up. So it's saying like, well, there's definitely going to be some unexpected things happening. Sometimes the Moon card comes up when we are freaking out or paranoid or we're afraid of what's going to happen or what changes are going to come. But I have to tell you, like, Uranus in your 6th house can totally innovate your habits and your daily routine. It might change the way that you're working. You might become more independent. It can also make some shifts revolving around your health habits. It is going to be playing very nicely also with Pluto in your 2nd house. So it's going to probably generate opportunities to make more money, to be honest with you. And the Moon card is also kind of talking about how this might impact your moods and your emotions. So that does kind of make sense because Gemini's in the 6th house. So it's like
how you think and shifts that are kind of going on, revolving around how your routines get kind of like shuffled, and then it can kind of affect like your mood and your mental health, right? The moon. And then the final card we get is the Seven of Cups. So it can create more opportunities for feeling like there's doors that are opening for you. I mean, I've had Uranus go through my 6th house. I'm going to tell you, it was that transit that made me go, nope, don't want to work a desk job, don't want to work for other people. I've had enough of that, I'm done. And not everybody has that experience, but more so than not, there is something that happens in regards to your daily grind, where you're working, how you're working, where you're like, nope, I want to be free of this. And it's really going to push you to start considering other ways that you can make money. So, you know, with the Seven of Cups coming up, I really feel like this is a situation where you can be like, okay, you know, maybe there's an opportunity for me to take a side job or work independently here or do this or do that. And maybe you feel like you're juggling, but I do think it's going to bring more wealth in for you. And I feel like this is about kind of keeping an open mind, obviously, with Uranus and Gemini, about how your work and your daily routine should work. And obviously Uranus going through the 5th house has been trying to kind of get you to think about, how can I be more creative? How can I get out of the box? How can I potentially take some risks? Now, sometimes that's with dating, sometimes that's with investing. It really just depends on your situation. But if you have had a lot of back and forth and up and down going out with like relationships, that generally kind of calms down a little bit when Uranus goes into your 6th house. Cap rising, Pisces sun, Leo moon. 5th has North node, 6 is empty, I think. Not my fiance next to me listening to new relationship. Not necessarily. I mean, you know, Uranus leaving your 5th house will create changes for your relationship. It'll be more like if there's been a lot of things going on in that relationship that have been up and down, it stabilizes when it goes into the 6th house. And the 6th house is 12th to the 7th. So this can also represent that your partner is becoming more interested in like occult sciences, metaphysical things. They're going to be more interested in like meditation, astrology, that kind of stuff. But for you, I feel like this is about doors opening. And I think that even though it may not feel like as much spontaneous fun and like excitement and sometimes partying and cutting loose as the 5th house, it definitely gives you an opportunity to kind of innovate and have, you know, more freedom when it comes to your career and your daily routines. A lot of this is just letting go of the past ways of doing things with that 10 of Swords that's coming up. And also embracing the unknown. With the Moon card, it's like whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I have found that, in my opinion, Capricorn risings more than any other sign, you guys have already seen with Jupiter in your 6th house what needs to potentially change, what needs to evolve with your health or your habits or where or how you're working. Then Uranus is going to follow suit with Jupiter's transit. It's going to be like, okay, cool, now's the time. Let's make the change. Let's do it now, right? Anyway, I hope that's helpful for you. All right, so who else do we have here? I think that's everybody. Rosie, got Rosie? Okay. So we've got Juliana, Jessica, and Tiana. If Juliana and Jessica can send me their questions. And how is the stream for everybody? Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know. So Juliana and Jessica, if you guys can send me your questions. And if you guys are still waiting to get a reading, we will final call pretty soon. So last call, if you guys want to get your readings in, send them in. A bit choppy, but fine. All right. We'll see. Hopefully we stay on. Thanks for the feedback. Last call is coming up. All right, I'm waiting for Juliana and Jessica to send me their questions. I'm going to take Tiana. Tiana says, Candace, Pisces rising, Aries sun, Sag moon. I'm trying to pivot my career in the entertainment industry. I found a coach. I'm making the right choice. Am I making the right choice to embark on this journey or continue climbing this corporate ladder? Well, let's think about this here. So you've got your 10th house ruler in the 4th. You're an Aries sun, 2nd house sun. And you got a Sag moon, and your 7th house is Virgo. So you know you're going to be having an eclipse pretty soon in March in your 7th house. And then the ruler, Mercury, will retrograde from your 2nd house of money into your 1st house. So you're going to be looking for somebody to help support you and manage you basically to help get you seen, to get you out there, to help you make more money. You know, they're going to be invested in how well you do. Certainly the transits make sense. I would go and look at what transits are happening involving your natal Jupiter. All right, so in this order, we have got we've got the Tower card, we have got the Three of Swords, and we have got the Three of Cups. Woof. What has happened in the past? Have you feel like that this has been like a difficult path forward? Have you felt like you've tried to find, you know, somebody to support you, or you've been trying to find some kind of management and you're just like, or coach of some kind, and you felt like you've been lost? I mean, the good news is the Three of Cups is the final card. So that makes me feel like, you know, that connection will bring you to another person, as weird as that sounds. Like Three of Cups is more than two people. There's going to be three people. She says yes. Okay. You know, I think about how Pisces risings are really going to be more financially abundant. They're going to be way better off, and they're going to have a lot less drama in their life when they start prioritizing themselves. Okay. Second to that would be Aries, because Aries has Saturn and Neptune going into their sign. It has to be all about you. The reason why there's been issues previously in the past with the Tower card coming up with the Three of Swords is like, you thought people were going to help you in the past or support you, and they disappointed you. Or they promised you the world, and then, you know, they ended up not keeping their promises, and it's led to a lot of you delaying things. There's been a lot of heartbreak that's happened because you put your faith in the wrong people, or you believed that people were going to, you know, help you kind of climb the ladder, or they were going to mentor you, or they were going to work with you, or they were going to put a good word in for you. And I'm not trying to sound negative, but I feel like the Tower card and the Three of Swords is just kind of like looking at this going like, enough is enough. Like, okay, fool me once, you know, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Like, no, we're not trusting people at work anymore. I also feel like a lot of this is like Jupiter coming into the fourth house, is it's wanting you to kind of feel like you can have a home base or a living situation or something where you can be more so grounded and have more control and like work from home or do something that's going to be more fun or creative. And you're thinking about ways to do that now with some of like the retrogrades in your fifth. Obviously, as we move on from things kind of crumbling, the disappointment, realizing, okay, I can't be blaming other people anymore. Like, I'm working with people who don't really have my best interests at heart, or they're not real support systems. You have found someone that will come in that will help you. I feel like the Three of Cups is either saying it's going to connect you to yet another person who's going to want to work with you in some way, or maybe they're going to be talking to you about, okay, let's find a manager, or let's connect you with this other creative, or like, let's get you in the queue, you know, to potentially go and audition for something, or they're going to be talking to a PR manager, or they're going to be talking to like a publishing agent, something like that. So there's another person who will come in. And the Three of Cups is basically about being in a situation where you're being celebrated, where people are welcoming you, where people are basically recognizing you, where there is some kind of positive shift that's happening where you're like, oh, I'm so happy that I did this. Especially for Pisces risings, I feel like to have the Mars retrograde in your sixth house into your fifth is like, screw this. I don't want to be working in an office. I belong on stage. I need to be doing something creative. I need to do something that's going to give me more freedom in regards to my home life. This is what I'm going to do. And like, the ball is in your court. All the planets are kind of trining and making aspects with the North Node and Venus and Saturn and Pisces. I hope you're taking like headshots soon as a Pisces rising, because Pisces is, you know, Venus is kind of dancing in Pisces with like Saturn and Neptune in the North Node. And by the way, your voice, if you're Pisces rising and you have your sun in Aries in the second house, it literally means you can make money with your voice. People who have second house suns have very distinguishable voices, by the way. They make money through sometimes communication or writing or something about their ego, but also like their public persona is tied to their voice. I have my sun in my second house too. So I could definitely see that happening for you, but like, enjoy connecting with this person. I feel like Stella's going to get her groove back somewhere around March and April, and you'll see that with the eclipses and the retrogrades. Those retrogrades are all about bringing people to you and working with people who can get you more exposure. So make it about you this time, so you're not getting disappointed and feeling like you're kind of chasing your tail, you know, working in like a public space. I hope that that's helpful for you. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. I think we called final call. All right, so let's see who did we get. Juliana and Jessica. We did, right? Jessica here. Got evicted. Keep getting turned down with every job I applied for. I feel stuck. I lost my car too. I'm exhausted. Aries Sun, Virgo Rising, and Taurus Moon. What is happening? That sounds like a lot for a Taurus Moon. I think about the Mercury retrograde in Sag and all the squares that happened for a lot of Virgo risings where they were like, I'm moving, what's going on, what's happening, where am I going? Aries Suns too, I could see that especially being connected to your 8th house. All right, so what is happening? Let's take a look. Let's see if we can give you some insight, Jessica. Hopefully some good news. All right, in this order, we got the Page of Coins, the 6 of Coins, and we have got the Knight of Swords, okay? Well, I mean, one thing that I would say that's really working in your favor is that, you know, the Knight of Swords is really kind of talking about like having your head on straight, being like, okay, all of this stuff is happening. I feel crazed. I don't know which end is up, but still like the willingness to make a move, to make a change. I feel like the Knight of Swords can be about a message coming in. It can be about an email, a phone call, a document. It can be about a meeting or somebody who's like rushing into the situation, being like, okay, what's going on? What do you need? This could literally be somebody coming in and providing you with some kind of support. It's not always necessarily financial, okay? Although I see that kind of coming too at the end of the reading, but I feel like this is just about jumping into the situation and being like, what can we do to help you? What do you need now? This can indicate that you're focusing on communicating and connecting, you know, obviously applying for more jobs. The Knight of Swords can be about that. It's about sending out your information and letting people know that you're available. But this can also be about being on the move. Sometimes this comes up and it talks about relocating or it talks about traveling. So I'm wondering, where are you now? If you left your home, if you lost your car, that Knight of Swords talks about like being on the road for a little bit or feeling like you're going to go and be a place for a short period of time and then you're going to be making a jump to another place. But you're taking the initiative, you're taking the action. Now, 6 of Coins in the current position. So it means that for what's coming, it looks like there's about to be an exchange. By exchange, you know, I mean like 6 of Coins could be somebody says, hey, you know what, if you need a place to stay, I'm willing to let you stay here, you know, and you can do some work for me. And in turn, I'm going to give you a place that you can stay for a little bit. It could mean that you could end up getting a job that's going to go hand in hand with having to live somewhere. So I think like, you know, somebody who would do property management, right? They're going to be given an apartment or they're going to be given something at a discount or they pay part of their rent and they live there and they work there. Some kind of exchange is coming. You can see this over like the next 6 days to the next 6 weeks. 6 of Coins is also a really positive omen for finances and situations turning around because this is generally a time where something is given to you and you're like, oh my God, thank you so much. And you're appreciative and then you pay it forward. So there will be growth and abundance that will come from this period. And then you also see the Page of Coins. So this to me seems like not only is there going to be a consistent job that's coming in, but also you're going to be either receiving or you're going to finally have like wheels or a vehicle again. Knights are dedicated to their cause and they're about movement. And for me, the Knight of Coins really talks about not only being in a situation where money is coming in, although you are going to be more conservative with it, you're going to be more careful. It can also mean that there is going to be a new form of transportation, or maybe that you're going to be doing some kind of work that's in transportation or movement. This is also a message about finances that are coming your way. So good news is that you've got 2 knights that are kind of working on your behalf. One that's coming in saying, what do you need? How can we help? What's the problem? What do you got going on? And then the other one who's like, okay, let's come up with a solution. Let's figure out how we can kind of get you somewhere safe to stay. Let's get you some food, let's get you a job, you know, and there isn't an unwillingness to work. When you're pulling 2 knights coming up, you're willing to kind of jump into a situation where you're like, I'll do whatever I have to do. I just need to kind of get my head above water and look for exchanges, like work exchanges, things where, you know, even I would think like the six of Coins and the Knight of Swords would be like, I'm having an exchange. I'm house sitting, right? People are gone. I'm staying at their house. I'm getting paid. I'm watching their house. And maybe you do a period of time where you're traveling and you're house sitting or you're traveling and you're pet sitting, something like that, where you can kind of do that for a period of time until you get situated or settled in one place. And when you have the means and the capability, like it's looking to me within like 6 weeks to 6 months time, things are going to stabilize and you're going to feel like you're a lot better financially and more so grounded, and you have the freedom to kind of pick and choose where you want to be, or if you want to kind of get back in the saddle when it comes to having a vehicle. I hope that that's helpful for you. Sending you lots of good vibes during this difficult time. It looks like your luck is definitely going to be turning around, so I'm excited for you. Readings are now closed, so if I missed you, you can catch me next week. I'll be here, and I'll give you guys a heads up with who else we have left. Is Juliana here? Juliana, is she here? If you hear me, let me know. Oh, thank you, Red. I appreciate that. I may have been too late. Well, I'll let you know who I have. I'm looking for Juliana. Otherwise, I can give you a general reading. So if you hear your name, you made the cut. Ayana, Kimberly, Tanya, Natalie, Sasha, you guys are all in the queue. Anybody? Bueller? All right, this is for Juliana. We're going to give her a blind reading. All right, Juliana, this is for you. This is your 3-card spread. And who do we have next? And after that, we have, let's see, Sasha and Natalie. Okay. All right, Juliana, here it is. Make sure I didn't miss anything. No? Okay. This is for you. In this order, we've got the Hermit card, the Star card, and the Two of Coins. Got some new cards finally. Well, you got 2 majors coming up. So whenever we see majors, that's always significant because this does seem to kind of indicate that there is some big change on the horizon. In particular, you know, this is really talking about 2 significant placements that we have in the skies right now. Obviously, the Star card connects to the collective. It's about your dreams. It's about your goals. But this is also very much tied to Aquarius. We're going into Aquarius season. Pluto's in Aquarius. We're going to have a new moon in Aquarius. We're going to have Mercury conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. You need to know where Aquarius is in your chart, okay? This is going to be really, really, really important. I feel like with the Two of Coins coming up, it's basically saying you're weighing your options, you're going back and forth, revolving around making a change. Now, what is that change? It could be financial, it could be health related, it could be weighing your options in regards to a job. And then the next card that we have coming up for you is the Star card. The Star card is obviously about your goals, your dreams, okay? So you're like, if this is what I want to do, you know, what changes do I need to make, or what do I need to give up, or what direction do I need to go in order to feel like I can see these dreams come true? Once again, look at the Aquarius area of your chart, but I feel like the Star card is saying that there's this turning point where you're really realizing like, okay, this is the direction I need to go in. This is the future. It's scary, but I need to be willing to kind of let some things go in order to feel like I can fulfill this. And it's also about support that comes from your community, support that's going to come from friends, support that's going to come from family, and something therapeutic in that process of being like, I'm just going to totally, you know, surrender to this new change, to this new shift, and I know that it's going to be a good thing. Part of that may be connected to your health and your lifestyle. Part of that may be also connected to your work, okay? And I say that because the final card that we get is the Hermit card. And this is really, I think, connecting to the South Node that we have in Virgo. So it's going to be interesting to see Mercury go into Aquarius conjunct Pluto, and it's going to reverberate off of the South Node. So you got to look at your chart and look at, okay, where's Aquarius? There's a change going on here. Where's the South Node? I'm releasing this. Healing and being alone with oneself, taking time to pause and reflect, starting some kind of wellness practice or meditation or some kind of self-reflection shift that you're going to be doing. You know, the Hermit card really talks about going and walking and being alone and like basically like going on like a pilgrimage almost, you know, to kind of like find yourself. And you might be questioning like, is now the time to actually like, you know, go and take this trip or to take a break from work and, you know, travel? Is it time for me to be going, you know, back to school or making some shifts in this area of my life, wherever Virgo is? And I feel like the Hermit card is always about knowing that Like, you will be fine if you're willing to take a risk. And like listening to that internal voice that kind of comes up. I always think of like the Hermit card and how he's holding the lantern. It reminds me of I think it was Dickinson that said, "Out with lanterns looking for myself." I don't know if you guys have heard that quote, but literally it's like, it's not until you're alone, until you've had time to reflect and like be away, that you're able to make a decision about and have clarity about where you're going. So it might be time for you to kind of take a step back away from life. So that way, even if it's a couple days, to just kind of think about, okay, what decisions am I making? What am I letting go? What direction am I going in? And having support from a community who's going to kind of back up some of the changes that you're going to be making. Really focus on prioritizing your health and your wellness. That's really important when the Hermit card is coming up. And any kind of like emotional or spiritual healing with the Star card coming up in combination as well. Okay. I hope that is helpful for you. I'm excited to see what you learn, what kind of like a health journey you might be on, or like a new job journey you're going to be on, because it's kind of connected to those things. All right, so we have got, okay, I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. We have got Sasha, and we have got Natalie, and we have got Tanya. All right, Sasha says, I'm a Pisces sun and rising, and you're having issues with love. That seems to be the theme of your life. I have lots of 12th house Aquarius placements that don't help either. Any admirers near or coming soon? All right, you've got it. This is for you, Sasha. So what can I tell you? Oh, I think it's such a good thing to be a Pisces rising right now. Like, considering that the eclipse is going to be in your 7th and then you're going to have retrogrades in your 1st, it's like literally like drawing people in. It's going to be crazy how much attention you will get with that transit. The card that I got for you is the Nine of Swords. Unfortunately, this has become the card of the evening. Nine of Swords connected with a confirmation card of the Queen of Coins. So my thought on this is, and this is something you have to be careful of if you're a 12th houser, okay? 12th housers almost like live in a fishbowl. And if you've got Venus placements connected there, or 7th house Lord connected there can be a tendency of not seeing people, or thinking like you're invisible, or that people don't see you, they see through you, they don't recognize you, they don't find you. Like, you have to be out of sight, out of mind with that. That's very important. Nine of Swords is kind of saying like, okay, I'm about ready to give up. And it kind of reflects with what you were saying. This is the theme of my life, right? Not having something that is being reflected back. There you go. You have your 7th house Lord in the 12th. Some traditional astrologers would say, well, that means that relationships are, hidden enemies, but not necessarily. It means that they find you when you are meditating and connecting and visualizing or having dreams, or you're in altered states. Unless you travel to a foreign land, unless you're willing to, go and hang out in 12th house places like monasteries, churches, temples, healing centers, private centers, hospitals, rehabs, those kind of places, which aren't always that fun. Some of them are. I think with the Nine of Swords is about kind of being like, I'm not going to give up, because that's really what this card is about. It's about not giving up hope, not assuming that you're always going to be alone. Probably some of the best transits for love and romance that are going on right now are Pisces risings. With Mars retrograde in your 5th, you can definitely get back out there and get back on the horse, and there could be lots of karmic things happening in relationships, especially with people who live further away. Or if you're going and doing training events, or if you're traveling, you could meet someone. And then I think about the eclipses that are going to be in your 7th house. And even though you're single, if you're having South Node eclipses in your 7th, there can be people who are like blasts from the past, or there can be people who come in that are, clocking in for their karmic duty in terms of like a soulmate that pops in to kind of connect with you. I remember when I had the South Node transiting my 7th house, that was the year that I met my husband, but we didn't actually end up getting back together and then like being married for like 14 years. I mean, like literally. Ended up being that person, but maybe didn't happen at that time. So I have found a lot of times when you have the South Node there, sometimes a really significant person can come in, and if the timing is right, then it's like, oh, okay, you're just like back again. Okay, great. Otherwise, people come in to kind of help you along on your path. It's funny that the Queen of Coins comes up, because it talks about investing in yourself, focusing on yourself, committing to yourself, knowing that you are worthy, and carrying yourself in a way where you're like, I don't feel less than, or not capable, or that I'm not good enough. Like, It's just, I need to find somebody who's going to kind of meet me at my level, high standards, low expectations. And if you have those low expectations, you will be even more so surprised when some of the transits happen this spring when you're bringing somebody in. As soon as Mercury and Venus go retrograde, it's going to be going through your 7th house. It'll go from the 8th into the 7th. So it's a time where you're reevaluating intimacy and vulnerability. Some of you guys will go to therapy. Some of you guys will reconnect with people from the past. Watch for the stickiness with other people that can pop up. But I don't necessarily think that this is something that's a bad thing. It's about kind of looking at it like, okay, you know what? Like, relationships can be icing on the cake. I know what I'm supposed to be with, and I'm not going to be settling. And just remind yourself that you're seen. You have to remind yourself that you're seen when you have Mercury in the 12th. Hopefully that's helpful. I'm the one that crushes on my tutor in another country. Well, there you go. So, I mean, there could be other opportunities, though, for other people who live in other places if you connect with people who are further away. All right, so we've got Nat and Tanya and then Kimberly. All right, let's see what Nat has to say. The amount of opportunities that have materialized since the energy of the Cancer new moon have been overwhelming. Because it was conjunct Mars. Opportunities in dance, yoga, Pilates. My one-on-one sessions have transformed into being more energy-based. Energy healing is happening spontaneously, which is something I've always wanted to facilitate. I now have the opportunity to do a spot astro reading at a sobriety event next weekend. What do I need to know about moving forward with all these opportunities? My North Node feels very activated. I feel ready to take a risk in something new. And I have the clearest vision of how to tie it all together, my different disciplines together. But is astrology really a part of the mix for me? Let's take a look. Let's see. So what can we tell Nat about all of these good things happening work-wise? Remember, Mars is still retrograde, okay? So sometimes when Mars is retrograde, when it's in the 10th, there's all of these karmic opportunities that are coming your way of people who want to work with you, because Mars is connected to making money and it's also connected to your 7th house. So you're not going to see a lack of people interested in working with you. But can she tie it all together, and is astrology part of that? We've got the 6 of Cups. We've got the 3 of Cups. We've got the 9 of Cups. What a watery combination this is. Probably some of the better cards that you can see out of the deck. I kind of feel like, obviously, with all of the elements being cups and it's about water, this is a reminder that you have to be listening to your intuition right now, right? North Node is now hanging out in your 6th house. That means being of service, helping other people, being able to provide some kind of care. That can be in a physical way, but that can also be in an intuitive way. And with the 9 of Cups coming up, it's like basically saying, what do you want? The universe is going, what do you want? Do whatever you want to do. Here's are the things that you've asked for. You've been asking for some kind of growth. There's wishes that you have been seeding. Now it's all coming full circle for you, right? And I definitely feel like the 9 of Cups is saying that with where you're at right now, if that's what you want to do, you have the capability of doing that. Not only that, but it'll bring you joy, right? The 9 of Cups is saying it's something you enjoy doing. It makes you happy. You love it. It makes your heart sing. It really is something that you enjoy doing. So even if it's not like you're going into it being like, oh, this is going to be the end all be all, you can do it because it's what you enjoy doing right now. And likely you will see this period through the Venus retrograde, the Mercury retrograde, in your 6th house, where you're going to be like, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it in a way where I have a schedule, or it's going to be more refined, or I'm going to do it during certain days, or I'm going to have a space that I do it in, or, there will be something that will change. I think the 3 of Cups is about being well received and being a part of a group or a community and being able to share this gift with other people. So if it's something you like to do, I mean, astrology is amazing, right? Like, you could do astrology and just sit in your room and study and learn all day. And then there's the people who want to use astrology specifically because they want to help connect other people. They want to help individuals learn about themselves and also see that, it's not just this one-dimensional thing where you have a sun sign. It's also about all these other placements, and it connects you to other groups of people. So I think it's wonderful for you to do in like a group setting, or in like a party setting, or if there's going to be events and things like that, because the 3 of Cups is about being able to unite other people and being around others and being able to kind of enjoy what you love doing and like spreading it with other people, because astrology is like infectious. Like once you start to get it, then it's like, you're like, oh my God, this is literally like how you kind of like decode the future. And then people become like obsessed with it. And you might find other people who are going to have similar interests, and you might make connections that can be really good for other aspects of your business. And then the Six of Cups is funny because in the future card, this literally means this is something you will come back to. So it's like, even if you do it for a little bit, and you're like, okay, I'm only going to do it for parties, or I'll do it here and there, you know, you will eventually kind of drift from it a little bit, and then boom, you're going to come back to it. You're going to be like, but that, I really like doing that. It makes sense. And obviously, you know, your career is going to evolve over time. If you have a ton of planets in Capricorn, it will get better and better and better the older that you get. So you have time to learn how you want to work this into things. You might decide you want to use astrology because you want to better understand what cycles people are going through, or where they're more prone to having blockages emotionally, or more prone to having health issues, or if they're going through things, and learning about the body system. And that can definitely tie into everything else that you're doing, right? But, you know, if you're feeling like your North Node is really kind of acting up right now, or you're being called to kind of tap into that, I feel like that is the 5th house. That is playtime. That literally is like, what do you enjoy doing, right? I mean, I know we have similar charts. So my North Node's in the 5th house, and it's in Aquarius. And for me, astrology has always been playing in the sandbox. Tarot has always been something that was like a hobby that I loved doing. And it ended up turning into something that I was like, oh, well, you know, of course I would do this forever, because it's something I keep coming back to. When you start losing that feeling of, oh, you know, I'm having fun, that's when you'll know that you'll take a step back. But I have a feeling that you'll do this more in an entertainment way for a while, and then you will find that you keep being brought back and learning different aspects and different things and different facets that can kind of work into the work that you're doing. But the emotion is there, the connection is there, right? The love for that specific practice. I hope that that is helpful for you. I hope you have fun. That sounds like fun. I used to love doing events in LA. It was amazing. Coco, I'm just reading your message. Just want to say this Mars retrograde sucks. This guy hit me in an intersection. Oh my gosh. He just lost his house in the fire. 2025 needs a reset button. I am sending you lots of love. I'm glad that you're okay. And I'm sorry to hear about your car. I've heard so many people having accidents the last couple days with the Sun-Mars oppositions. It's been a big theme. Good luck, Nat. Let me know how the party goes. I've got Tanya, and then Kimberly, and then Ayana. Tanya says, I'm a Virgo rising Pisces sun. How many of you guys are out there tonight? My goodness. Taurus moon, Mercury and Pisces. What can I expect coming up this spring with your sun and your Mercury in your 7th house? Well, Saturn is there and eclipses are there. I don't know, meeting a significant person, that's for sure. Let's take a look. What can we tell Tanya? It's just quickly become like a Virgo rising party. It's so interesting. It's because you guys have North Node in your 7th. You're like, I need a tarot reading. I need an astrologer. I need a therapist. I need a priest. Some of you guys do need a priest. In this order, 10 of Cups, 8 of Swords, and the Star card. You know, I kind of feel like this is about getting out of your own way. And the Star card starts off the reading, obviously talking about healing, focusing on what your goals are, focusing on what you're hoping to achieve, being able to feel like you're getting to a place where you feel like something is kind of complete, right? And this could be with friends, this could be with your job, this could be with anything. But specifically, that's talking about Aquarius, which is your 6th house if you're a Virgo rising. So it's like, what do you need to make changes with at work, or in regards to your schedule or your health? Where do you need to get out of your own way, right? And the 8 of Swords is a sticky card. This is a card where we can feel like we're stuck or we're trapped in a situation. Trapped in a job, trapped in a relationship cycle, trapped in some bad habits, you know, and just feeling like, okay, I'm hoping to break out of this, but I don't know how to get out of this. I'm still in this situation where I don't know how to make the shift. And with the 8 of Swords, this is a card that talks about being stuck in a situation, and traditionally you see her blindfolded and she's got the swords around her, and it's just symbolic of saying like stuck is a state of mind. Right? It's about being about solutions, not about, you know, focusing on the problem, right? And I think the 8 of Swords is kind of going like, all right, where am I ready to break free? Especially when it comes to your emotions. Ten of Cups is the final card. This is about emotional completion, healing, fulfillment, feeling like you're reaching these higher levels emotionally, picking yourself up. Like literally the Eight of Swords feels like the bottom, and then the Ten of Cups feels like the top. So you're really hoping to kind of make some big shifts in your relationships. You're really hoping to make some big shifts where there's some kind of fulfillment and you're feeling like you have someone or something to kind of celebrate your victories and your wins with. This can be talking about a major turning point in your love life, which I would say to any Virgo rising, but especially you, because I feel like this is a period of coming out of a healing pattern and like coming out of a situation where maybe you've been hurt, you've been wounded, maybe there's been some disappointment, and you're realizing that if you stay in that, you're never going to get the opportunity to have love or have commitment, or, you know, you're realizing that you have to be willing to take chances. And so once you're moving out of like this healing phase and you're like, okay, I'm ready to get hurt again, put me back in, the Ten of Cups comes in and it's like, okay, you're going to be rewarded for being willing to kind of put yourself out there and being vulnerable. This can also be about major achievements. So sometimes it's career related, sometimes it's related to finances, but Ten of Cups is saying that there is going to be some emotional fulfillment that's going to come in. And I think it's just about being able to overcome and moving on from some of the situations that have been kind of destructive or, you know, disappointing previously with some kind of relationship. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful for you, especially if you got Virgo and Pisces in the mix. Woo! You're going to be like the next 3 months, your head's going to spin because you're going to see so many changes. Gemini rising's just sitting around waiting for the squares. Yep, pretty much. But Gemini risings though, 10th house stuff that's good for you guys. It's going to be a big turning point with your guys' career stuff, especially with the North Node there. Jupiter's the ruler, so it's going to be your time to shine. All right, what's up, Kimberly? Please tell me about my networking opportunities. Pisces rising, Leo sun, Scorpio moon. Thanks for the last reading. I came up with a brand ball name. Okay, I like it. A brand ball name. Did you mean a brand new name? All right, so what can we tell Kimberly about her networking opportunities? Ooh, the card that I get is the Strength card. Look at how beautiful this card is. All the lions around her. Confirmation card is the Empress. Well, it doesn't get any better than that. Networking opportunities are going to be strong. You're going to see opportunities to connect with other women, or you're going to see a significant kind of turning point, especially around the full moon in Leo. Okay, so we just had a full moon in Cancer, so that's going to be the next full moon that's coming in. The Strength card for me is about having your time to shine and being in a situation where you have been able to overcome all obstacles and challenges and feeling like you're just welcoming people into your kind of your network or kind of into your vicinity. This is about being like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm putting it all out there. Especially if you are a Pisces rising. This is going to be a really big turning point where you're going to have the opportunity to have all eyes on you. Maybe there's going to be some changes where you're kind of like softening a little bit with all those Pisces planets and you're kind of feeling a little bit more sensitive and emotional and a little bit more kind of like vibey. And you're feeling like you're just going with the flow. And that's the beauty of the Strength card, is that in order to get what she wants from the lions, she doesn't have to control them. She's just like, I'm going to let it come to me. There is like the sense of oozing with confidence also when you see like the Strength, because she's like walking around and all these like tigers are at her feet. And she feels like supported and kind of like regal. So it's about kind of welcoming everything that's supposed to be kind of coming your way. Confirmed obviously with the Empress card, which is saying like now is the time to really be focusing on embodying some of the things that you have been feeling for a long time. Also, this is going to be about beauty, strength, appearance, generosity, warmth, and, you know, kind of bringing people in and showing them what you're creating and what you're putting together. This can also be some kind of support that can be coming from like a significant woman. So it can be a mentor, it can be a manager, it could be a mother figure, it could be a sister, a friend, somebody who's going to be like regularly reminding you, you've got this and this is something that you have to keep going with. Watch for opportunities to network with other women, and that there is going to be like a chance to be able to engage with them and like support one another in some of your creative projects. Brandable domain name for my book. Okay, cool. I love that. It's such a great combination, especially because it just like, it like oozes confidence, you know? It's like, I've got this. This is what I'm creating. And it's just like, this really strong kind of like Venusian energy, which makes sense because Venus is going through your ascendant. Take lots of pictures. All my Pisces risings, take lots of pictures. You guys are going to look great with some of the transits right now. All right, we have Ayana, who is a Capricorn sun, Aquarius moon, Gemini rising. I'm interested in this Libra I work with. He's expressed his interest and then withdrew. What is the energy, and is this going to lead somewhere? All right, let's take a look. Usually a lot of my Gemini risings do pretty well with Jupiter in their first house because it's your 7th house lord, so it's attracting people. But what's going on for you guys is that while Jupiter is in your first, there are planets going through your 10th of career. So you're talking about love at work, right? Venus is there. There's, Saturn is there. Neptune is there. And it's been squaring Jupiter, okay? And then now they're coming in for conjunctions with Saturn. So it can feel like there's this back and forth situation going on with like a love affair at work. And you're like, why? Like, is there something wrong with me? What's going on, And you may see that kind of play out a little bit over the next couple weeks. But let's see what we can tell you about what's going on with this guy. He expressed interest and withdrew. Where is he? Okay, in this order, we have the Justice card. We have the Page of Cups. We have the 9 of Cups. All very good cards. I kind of feel like something just to kind of keep in the back of your mind, knowing that they're a Libra. There's going to be retrogrades and eclipses that are going to be impacting Libras pretty significantly, especially a back and forth that's going on with a potential relationship and somebody that they work with. And whether that's them reconnecting to them, telling them where they've been, what they've been thinking, what they've been going through, or somebody connecting to them being like, dude, what's your deal? That's very likely to happen with their astrology. And for you, it's all playing out in the 10th house. The good news is that, the 9 of Cups is basically saying, look, if you want there to be something, you're probably going to will it into happening. 9 of Cups is ask and you shall receive. So if you're hoping that there's going to be something that's going to develop, the likelihood is that that could happen. Especially because the 9 of Cups is saying that there is a mutual interest. There is a lot of connection between the two of you. I don't think there is lack of interest. I don't think there's lack of anything except for, their willingness to kind of like be consistent, right? They can be connected to you, but they can also be super distracted. And I think with the Page of Coins coming up right now, the Page of Cups coming up right now, it's kind of saying like, all right, is this just like a flirting thing? There's an interest, but when is this going to go somewhere? Are they going to take some kind of action? Usually the Page of Cups is talking about like the act of flirting and kind of being friendly and cat and mouse and kind of playing hard to get. And it can also be somebody who's like not necessarily taking it seriously. So you're like, okay, we've got a good thing going here. This works. This is cool. But he'll kind of come in and then he'll go out. He'll come in and he'll go out. And the Page of Cups can be an indication that there is potential for a relationship, that there is a mutual attraction between the two of you, that there's lots of potential for something to go there. But the Justice card is coming up. And this is about Libra, but this is also saying like the scales need to be balanced, right? So when I think of the perspective of you, where you're like, okay, are they going to make a move or not? Are they going to show up and like, make an effort to pursue me? And then in their chart, it's supposed to be about, a partner saying to them, like, you snooze, you lose, dude. If you're not taking the initiative, then I'm not waiting around for you. And like, also, I don't want to make stuff weird at work. So I think that will happen. There may be a sense of checking the Libra a little bit, especially when they come back around and they all are kind of like flirty and fun. I think the Justice card is about you being kind of like, are you in or you out, dude? Like, what are we doing here? And like, this is about addressing the situation and calling a spade and being like, I thought we had something going on. Like, are you interested? Do you want to go out? Do you want to do something? And if you don't see any action, then I really feel like this is going to be you kind of adjusting things and creating some space and making him realize that it's not just going to be something that you're doing for playtime, that you're genuinely interested, and that unless he's going to take some kind of initiative, you're not going to go out of your way. You want to see him mature from this Page of Cups position where, okay, first it's kind of flirting, but we want to see it develop into something more. I also feel like the Justice card can be about the Libra coming to you and balancing the scales and being like, hey, this is where my head's at. This is what I've been thinking. And a lot of Libra placements are having a lot of issues revolving around an inner office romance, especially if the romance goes south, if they're working with that person. So that's definitely a part of his astrology. I would say put it out there because I do think that he will be receptive, but you're going to want to be seeing consistency. Otherwise, put him in timeout and he'll realize that and he'll kind of course correct it and he'll come back. Right? Anyway, I hope that that's helpful for you, giving you some insight. That's it for me for this evening. I'm glad I got a chance to hang out with you guys and do readings for you on Friday. If you haven't already, please like this stream, give me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow, and make sure you're subscribed. Click the subscription button below. That way you're here when I'm here on Fridays. I will be here next Friday doing live astrology. We're going to talk all about this amazing Chef's Kiss new moon in Aquarius. It's beautiful with the conjunctions and the trines that we're going to be seeing. Really, really, really good for new beginnings, so you don't want to miss that. Equally, I will be having a video on Sunday that's coming out, the astro weather. I'm going to talk all about the sun conjunct Pluto, so you don't want to miss that either. And horoscopes are coming out in this next week. So if you want to see all that, make sure you're subscribed. If you guys want to book a personal reading with me, I do one-on-one tarot and astrology readings. Click the links below in my description. By doing so, you guys can see my website. You can see all of my availability. I'm booking in April and in May right now. And if you want to learn how to read tarot, I have a beginner's tarot course, and I would love to teach you how to read. So check that out and sign up for my newsletter while you're there, so you guys hear about all the new courses and the webinars and things that I'm going to be doing this year. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have lots of fun, and I will catch you guys back here on Sunday. Take care.